Hey folks, it's Billy DKY, the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. This is going to be my video on intellectualism versus living it. We're going to start off with living it first, and then we'll proceed to intellectualism. Okay, living it is extremely simple, and that's really the only way you're going to know it. And I said this yesterday in a comment that you don't think your way into understanding or intellectualize yourself into understanding. You live your way into understanding. Okay, so here's the basic routine. You already know something about life. You know some things that works. You know some things you need to do to change in your life. You have a certain amount of knowledge that's your knowledge that you know is right, but you aren't living it. So the first thing you got to do is start living what you already know to be true into work. And then in the process of living it, you will automatically learn new things. In the process of learning new things, that'll give you more stuff that you know that you can live, and then you'll live it some more, you'll learn some more, and it's a cycle of learning, practicing what you know, and then learning, and then practicing that new knowledge, and it's just a spiral that spins upwards. And basically that's what I've been doing since I started this journey. I started with what worked. There's a few things I knew, and I tried them, and it wasn't much, but it started leading to things. And over almost 9 years of training now, it leads to profound things, and it leads to a certain amount of confidence that people who are intellectual just don't have, because what they have isn't rooted in actually living it. Like I say, you can change what a man believes, but you can't change what a man knows very easily, because he has first-hand experience with it. And that's what I have. I have first-hand experience. So again, live it. Live what you know. You'll learn some more stuff. Then you just continue that cycle of living and learning. And basically you see that in science too. I mean, they have a theory, then they go test it. And then they learn something from it. Then they either modify the test to figure out something new, or that changes their theory. It's a constant process of having ideas and trying them and trying what you already know, and just it's a process. Okay, let me make sure I said what I say on that. Live what you know. While doing that, you'll learn more. Since you know more, you can live more. Repeat process. It's the tree principle again. It's the tree principle. You're practicing what you know, and you may think you know stuff that's not actually true, but you'll figure that out by experimenting and actually living it, which again, same thing in science. And also notice that when you're doing that, this principle, your ego is minimal, because you're not claiming you already know. You're actually your knowledge is going to be acquired through humility, not arrogance. And again, it goes back to that theory I said before, little method I have. If it works, do it. If it doesn't work, don't do it, and pay attention so you can learn the difference. And when you're thinking about that method, you got to be thinking long term. Okay. Intellectualism. Thinking but not living. More thinking, not living. More thinking, not living. Inflated ego, no real knowledge. So, okay, what an intellectual does, gets a book, reads it, tries to mentally process it within here, gets another book, mentally processes it within here, another book processes in here, and it tries to interlink them. But notice it's all happening here. It's not happening by living it the way you walk. Oh, it may have some minor tweak in the way you live, but typically it's not actually being applied. So it's sort of the difference between philosophy and science. Philosophy never gets down to experimenting. That's why it's not that powerful. Am I saying that you, on a real spiritual path, you're not going to philosophize about things? Absolutely, you will philosophize. However, you will also back it up with tests, so it will quickly end the mental masturbation, if that's what it is. Or if you actually see something that's real, it's going to solidify in your mind, because you're going to see it work over and over again. Okay. And I heard this philosopher or an intellectual guy. He's a philosopher though. Oh man, his mind was quick, speedy, fast, and he could relate things, this and that. And I was listening to him. This is at the beginning of my journey. And I was listening to him, and I realized I'd made enough real spiritual progress by living it. I realized he didn't know a damn thing he was talking about. He had a quick mind, but he wasn't using what he'd learned to actually live it and become better. And see, if you ain't going to practice what you know, why are you even wasting it? It's just mental masturbation. Okay. Lao Tzu said, the learned don't know, those who know aren't learned. So if you're going to try to find, and what he's getting at too is what I'm getting at, is basically if you're trying to get your knowledge, the learned do not know. Because basically what you're doing is just putting a bunch of head knowledge in there. And like for me, I don't necessarily, I mean, don't get me wrong, I learn from books. However, I'm not that interested in them anymore because they don't really have that much knowledge to provide, given the knowledge that Mother Nature gives me every single day, every single moment. I'm being bombarded by the truth. I mean, I don't have to necessarily go buy it, anymore. And there's in the martial arts they have a saying too that you shouldn't cling to book knowledge for very long. You want to get down to learning for yourself. I did have something else to say on that. The learning don't know. They're just they're trying to learn it from books, being intellectual is not the way to go. Okay, science, already talked about it. Yeah, I think I said this. You live your way into understanding, not think your way into understanding. And I can quickly start telling when I'm talking to somebody if they're an intellectual or they actually live it, because their power of what they're saying is usually pretty weak. And think about it this way too. If you apply the principle I pointed out from the beginning, you live what you know, and then you just learn, and then you continue to live the new stuff that you learn. What you're learning is coming. What you're saying and doing comes from a very pure place. It doesn't have all the baggage of all the past religions and this and that. Where an intellectual has so much baggage that they're really weighed down with so much nonsense that it's really pathetic. And some people mistake me as being an intellectual because I try to reason with you on these videos. I have to convey knowledge in some way. I actually live it, and that's why I'm on here talking about it. I ain't doing it the other way. I ain't preaching it and trying to live it. I'm doing the exact process that I told you as I'm doing this. So if you go back and look at older videos, you'll see I might have a richer texture to what I'm saying now compared to what I had at the beginning, and you may even see that my spirit's stronger too because I actually live in it. And I have to convey, to reason with you, I'm trying to, here's what I'm doing in these videos. I'm trying to reason with you. And I have to use intellectual arguments. I mean, I can't just stare at you and convey meaning, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's not like you walk with me every day and get to watch me and see. So I've got to use the intellectual to convey knowledge to you. But if you're taking that intellectual knowledge and saying, okay, now I'm going to argue with that knowledge, then you're being fucking stupid. I mean, I'm not saying you can't challenge what I say, but I'm saying you're being fucking stupid because the shit that I'm telling you didn't come about because I was sitting around reading a bunch of books philosophizing about it. It came about mainly because I was living it. I'm not saying I'm right on everything I say, so I'm not trying to claim that. However, the process that I have going on, especially with the 9 principles that I put out, they help you. It's a self-correcting system. If you're wrong, you'll know you're wrong eventually. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's not about seeking the truth. It's about accepting it when it comes to you. And those 9 principles and Fall Away and the Growth, that's really about maximizing your learning. Because you're learning, you question things and this and that. Okay, so and again, it's not about arguing. It's about, I'm trying to convey knowledge to you, put it in your mind so you can go try it and apply it out. It's not to say, hey, I think I'm right and you're wrong. And again, some things I say is my opinion, and some things are not my opinion at all. They work every single time I've applied them, so I know they work, and there's no use really arguing about it because I'm right. And if you think you're right, then go live it, and then you'll find out the difference, just like in science. Go apply what you think you know, and then you'll know you'll know. It's not about trying to convince me you're right, because you ain't going to do it if you're wrong. Okay. Yeah, like I said, when you live it, you avoid all the nonsense of the past. Really, the whole point of spirituality is to progress as a human being. It's not to be intellectual, being an intellectual, or to get some intellectual position somewhere. It's about improving your life, and when you get to rock bottom, you'll really start listening to what I've got to say, because what I say really works. At least the majority of it, 90+%. So, and until the next video, later folks.